Good day. Welcome to Week 9 Learning Competencies for Statistics and Probability. Illustrates the t-distribution, identifies percentiles using the t-table. Okay. For the t-distribution, when the frequency distribution of a population is normal, then the t-distribution can be solved using t equals the sample mean minus the population mean multiplied by the square root of your sample divided by the standard deviation. So for the definition, the student t-distribution, often referred as simply the t-distribution, was developed by William Gossett from 1876 to 1937 under the pseudonym student. Example, if the mean of the 5 students in 4 quizzes is 78, we can freely assign any values for the first scores. Then the fifth score is then determined such that the mean of the 5 scores shall be 75. Okay. So the properties and conditions of t-distribution, the sample must be less than or equal to 30. Then the standard deviation is unknown. Then the distribution should be normal. Okay, so let us have the example. The score of 6 students in 5 quizzes are 82, 85, 78, 75, 87, 73 for these scores. Now solve for the margin of error. Okay, your n here equals 6, the sample size. Then if you're going to compute the value of the mean, then that will be equal to 80. Then the standard deviation is 5.59. Then construct a 95% estimate interval for this score. Now, how we're going to identify now the degrees of freedom? At the same time, how we are going to locate the critical value? Okay, using this table, okay, using this table, we have this. As you can see, we have the value of n, or the sample size is 6. Then we have the degrees of freedom is equal to n minus 1. Therefore, 6 minus 1, the degrees of freedom will be equal to 5. Using the 95% interval, then we have to look at 0.05. So we have this. Then locate now the degrees of freedom, that is 6 minus 1, that is equal to 5. So we have this 5. In order for us to locate now the critical value, or we can have this symbol for the critical value. Now, the interval is between 0.05 and 5, we have 2.571. Therefore, the critical value at n is equal to 6 is equal to 2.571. So let us continue. Now, in order for us to solve the given, so go back from the example, the scores of 6 students in 5 quizzes, 82, 85, 78, 75, 87, 73 for this course. Now solve for the value of margin of error, or E. Okay, so how we're going to have the margin of error? So we're going to use this formula. So this is what we call the critical value multiplied by your standard deviation over the sample size. Then the given standard deviation for this example is 5.59 and the sample size is 6. Therefore, if you're going to multiply this 2.571 and the value of this one will give you 5.9. So we have this example. Okay. So let us go back. So we have your margin of error is equal to the critical value multiplied by your standard deviation over the sample size. So the critical value we have already established using the table at n minus 1 degrees of freedom of 5, we have 2.571 multiplied by the value of standard deviation over the square root of the sample size. Then your margin of error now is equal to 5.9. Now, how we're going to use this margin of error? Okay. Now, let us go back with our example. After finding the margin of error, we're going to establish now the estimate interval as follows. So we have this mean or the population mean equals the given sample mean plus and minus the margin of error that we have already computed. As we all know, we have already established that the value of the sample mean is 80. That's why you have this 80. Then your margin of error is 5.9. So if you're going to subtract 5.9 to 80, then it will give you 74.1. If you're going to add, then it will give you 5.85.9. So it is a matter of adding and subtracting the margin of error. Before, the estimate interval is, we have mean is equal to 74.1 and 85.9. So this is how we're going to have the 95% estimate interval for the given scores. Okay. Let us go back. Okay. Now let us have another example. Suppose the analysis of a repair shop manager about the cost of repair of 12 car damage in the recent flash flood in Davao City reports and repair costs having a distribution is normal. When a sample mean of 26,000 pesos or 26,277 pesos and a standard deviation of 15,873, find the 95% interval estimate of the population mean or the mean repair of all damaged car. So we have here, the uses of this one is we're going to estimate the mean cost using the sample cost being established at the same time using the sample standard deviation. So we are trying to estimate the mean cost if we're going to have the repair of the damaged cars in Davao City. So we have the given, the sample size is equal to 12. So we have this. Then the sample mean is 26,277 and the standard deviation is equal to 15,873. Now, the first step is we're going to locate now the value of degrees of freedom. So your n here is 12 minus 1. So we have 12 minus 1 is 11. At the same time, we're going to use the 95%. So 11, locate now the 11 from the table. The interval between 11 and 0.05. So we have this. So we have this value. So we have the critical value of t is 2.201. So the value of this one using this table of values is 2.201. Okay, so that is what we call the critical value. Now, using this value to solve for the value of the margin of error, So we have this 2.01 multiplied by your standard deviation is 15,873 all over the sample mean, which is 12. So it will give you, if you're going to round off this one into whole number, then it will give you 10,085. Now, using this margin of error, 10,085, then we're going to have this. Establish now the estimate interval as follows. So mean repair equals the sample mean plus and minus the estimate interval. Now, if we're going to use this equation, we have the sample mean established from the given that we have 26,277 plus minus 10,085, the computed E. If you're going to subtract, then it will give you 16,192. And if you're going to add, we're going to get 36,362. So on this one, on the basis of the given sample result, we are 95% confident that the limits of 16,192 and maximum of 36,362 contain the value of the population mean. So meaning within this estimate interval, within this value, we can see the total amount of the repair that if we're going to repair those damaged car in Davao within this range of 16,192 and 36,362 pesos. So thank you for watching. Good day.